Okay, guys, so this panel topic is on influencer marketing tools. What's the single best tool that solves a problem for you that you couldn't live without? And we have both influencer perspective and company perspective, so we've got a good range of opinions.
For brands, we see them using drip email outreach tools to target, hundreds of influencers at one time. Reply app, outreach.io. A lot of brands say that it saves them, tens or hundreds of hours, writing individual emails. They're able to customize templates and then customize auto follow-ups and then customize auto follow-ups on the follow-ups. Obviously, you can't build the whole campaign that way, but to get the initial touch point, it's a good way to save some hours. And Reply app or reply.io or outreach.io, and there's others.
So a brand would need to know who they're reaching out to, right? They need to know email addresses.
Yeah, they would need to find the email addresses. Yeah.
And do you know any tools for that piece that brands use to, or how do brands get to that point where they need a tool to then deliver?
There was one on the other panel, Hyper. There's Tracker over there is another option. If you used NearReach, we have a solution for it, but it's very expensive. Follower Wonk, BuzzSumo. What are others? You can get top funnel emails.
At least, look at what?
Like top funnel emails.
I see 4 in my inbox every day that are coming out. I don't know.
Maker Watch. Yeah, I like BuzzSumo. It's $150 a month. It's a good hybrid. There's obviously better ones than them, but in terms of getting started, it's a pretty cheap way to tap into it.
The tools that we use every day are a little more enterprise friendly. One's called Social Edge. It's like a Salesforce.com for influencer lists that really help you kind of work through, track, make reports for companies. So it's very agency focused. Maker uses it, Full Screen, Tastemade, a lot of big WME and some of these bigger companies, agencies, and WPP out in New York. So it's kind of enterprise level. SocialRank's probably my favorite though. If any of you guys saw Alex here, he's the owner of that. Socialrank.com. Yeah, he was here this morning. It's really an awesome tool because it gives you insights into your followers. So a brand could use it, an influencer could use it, and if someone's following you, there's a good chance they like you. And so those are the places you want to look for first. When we get, what I do at Maker Studios, we actually don't only work for Disney, we work for other brands. And so when Dr. Pepper came to us and said, we want to find influencers that love Dr. Pepper, I went to SocialRank, I put their handle in on Instagram, and it shows me every Dr. Pepper, all the people following Dr. Pepper. And right at the top was Becca Tilley or something that we use a lot. And we realized, oh my gosh, she's following Dr. Pepper. She likes Dr. Pepper. We're gonna give her this campaign. And that's how. And so we use SocialRank all the time to find affinity by something as obvious as they're following this brand. So I really love SocialRank.
We use a lot of apps and tools on our mobile devices to kick things off pretty quickly. BuzzSumo is awesome. A lot of the tools that they said are really cool. We really like Buffer app. It's slightly better in my opinion to Hootsuite. If you use Hootsuite out there, fucking hate Hootsuite. Buffer's great. I've been.
Are we on cable TV or live TV?
Digital landscape, keeping it real. The thing about Buffer app that's so awesome is that they have analytical tools. They give you, if you're looking to create premium content at the best peak times, Buffer app is awesome for you. We also like using Slack as far as communication is concerned with team members and just adding brands and clients and social influencers. Twitter Engage is awesome if you're a Twitter influencer, so you can see what your value proposition is. We do take advantage of Instagram analytics as well. And Email Hunter, have you guys used Email Hunter at all? That's good if you want to find some emails from people that are trying to hide that shit. You need to put the word out. Klaviyo, I'm just gonna keep listing off all the tools that we use. Klaviyo is really good if you're use Shopify and e-commerce.
Email Hunter, is that a LinkedIn tool? Does that tie into LinkedIn?
It works in LinkedIn.
Yeah. How do you use it?
There's a lot of growth hacking techniques that we do, so I'm not gonna like get super detailed about that, but it's good. It's a great tool to use.
Yes.
Use that tool to find all of you beautiful people. Sorry, I normally am not supposed to do this. How many of you heard of Email Hunter? Anybody? Okay, there's only like 4 of us in the room. Okay, emailhunter.com. There's a bunch of other ones. There's prospect.io that's kind of new that will use the same thing. And they're a little button you put in your Chrome browser, and you're able then to run around the web, and it listens to signals like, hey, did this website ever have an @ with a .com at the end? And it did have an email, like info@medialeaders.com, which trackers find all the time. And so you can then reach out, you can go on a Twitter or a LinkedIn or something else, and it says, we think with a likelihood of 73% that this person's email address is this. And then what you do, the next thing you do, and I'm sorry to hack it, but this is how I met all of you, is we figured out a way to find their Instagram and then go find them on LinkedIn and find out where they're currently working and make sure that there's multiple emails, they have different likelihoods. And even if one's 100%, if they're currently working at that company, use that one. So anyways, emailhunter.com or .net. Sorry about that.
That's great.
He gave it away.
There's the hack.
As an influencer, when we get those mass emails, oftentimes we're not looking at them. If you're really trying to target the influencer, it needs to be a little more personalized. You know, so if you're just wanting us to get information of a, you know, whatever you're doing, if it's like a release of something, fine, you know, 9 times out of 10, I'm not certain I'm going to open that email, but if you're directing it to me and you know a little bit about my brand, I'm going to open it up, I'm going to look at it, and, you know, we're going to work together or something like that. So I don't know, coming from my standpoint, I don't know necessarily how good those things work for the mass emails, if you really want to get like an active person talking back to you. But it's good to get information out there. The tools I use, so, you know, obviously I'm a social media influencer. We're heavy on photography, so I use Visco, I use Facetune, I use what else? Snapseed. Also, another good one is Crowdfire. So if you wanna get your, on a time, you know, you're 8 o'clock in the morning, you want to get a post out, it's going to alert you on your phone to post that Instagram out. And Facetune, guys, I'm not trying to change I'm not different on Instagram than I am in real life. I use Facetune to, you know, accentuate different details of outfits, shoes, hair, you know, stuff like that. Things that are aesthetically pleasing for the eye for somebody to go through, and you're going to be like, that bag is amazing. You just put the details out there. So.
In terms of emailing, I think if you're into the fashion industry, one of the keys is Fashion Monitor. This one reaches out a lot of people all around the world, especially from magazines, you know, to editors-in-chief, to the photographers, to the fashion brands and everything. And it's a membership, but it's kind of worth it, like if you're trying to reach bloggers that are also inside. I use LinkedIn as well. And in terms of tools for my Instagram, I like to lighten up my photos a lot. So I use a lot of Snapseed. So you can just select different parts of the image. You don't necessarily need to affect the whole image. I also like Lightroom and Facetune 2, which is like an improved version of Facetune 1.
And so for Rosa and Tanya, are there any tools you use to manage your relationships with brands?
So I do work with a lot of agencies that are, for example, for our clients, such as Instabrand is great. You need to be accepted, but like once you're in, like it gives you a lot of jobs, and like it helps you as well because they do a lot of research in terms of like for these influencers to be legit. I think they use a lot of Social Blade. Social Blade is kind of Insta-rank, you know, like to tell you like how legit is this person, like how is the future projections of this person is gonna be growing, because some people like might be having 50K followers, but like in 1 year perspective, they're gonna be reaching out like 150. So like you wanna work with this person, maybe in a long term. So I think like this is like all like really interesting tools that you can use.
Are any of you signed with an agency?
I was actually signed with an agency with my blog before, but I found that kind of the power in just doing everything myself is great, because I can work with
And they probably didn't have any tools for you to work with them, right? The agency. They didn't provide any real tools.
They had clients, you know, so I'd go to events with them, and now I'm you know, the brands are reaching out to us to do things for them and stuff like that. So I don't know. It's like an agency. It's like it's a tough balance to kind of jump around, because they can help you a lot grow if it's like a fashion-centric agency. I know a lot of my friends are with DBA, and DBA does amazing stuff for them. A digital agency is good, but like Rosa said, we work with a lot of different digital agencies, and we don't have to sign an exclusive contract just with one. We can work with them all.
So are there any, we have some folks on the panel, right? Scott, I mean, you build tools, right? Are there tools that what's missing? What's a pain point as you're working on collaborations? You're like, everything's being done in Excel, right? Or everything's being done in all these different places, and I wish I had a tool that would do X, Y, Z. Where do you think some of those big pain points are? One
that I will talk about, though, I was at Taco Bell headquarters yesterday, and a lot of top brands were there talking about their pain points. And what one particular was Coca-Cola said, we're not happy with the influencer selection process. We have no idea who they've worked for and how often they work for those people. We don't know if they are spamming their Instagram profile every single day with ads, because they delete them a lot of times. So they don't have there isn't a good history tool on like what influencers, how active they are in behalf of brands, and if they've worked with a competitor even a month ago. So I'm going to solve that.
There's from the perspective of the influencer, like what we hear a lot is how to get that constant flow of opportunities that are paid. And from the brand perspective, we always hear the same like comment, which is about like, how does an Instagram post put money in our pockets? And just like what he was saying, now you can buy likes, buy followers, buy comments. Instagram just shut down Instagress just the other day, and that basically did automated engagement for you. So what we're seeing a lot, which is actually becoming a growing headache, is like the authenticity in posts when they're paid posts is not there. In fact, was it the FCC or somebody sent out?
FTC, yes.
Yeah, just the other day was like, dude, if it's an ad, say that it's an ad. Stop hiding it. Stop making it seem like it's an organic post. It's a paid post. People need to know it's an ad. And on the brand side of that, there's a lot of there's a lot of frustration there, right? Because you're spending money on somebody promoting your product, and as soon as they promote it, they put a time limit on it, and they take it away. So you really don't get to see the full value of it unless it stays up there. And this goes for Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Tumblr, whatever platform influencers use. That seems to be the biggest issue, is like finding that authenticity. And I know we'll probably speak about that a little bit later, but that's why we found a lot more success with brand ambassador programs.
One of the problems, authenticity is a big problem. Does this influencer even want to work on this campaign, right? Is it a good fit for their followers? And there's all sorts of these tools out there to analyze their followers and to find their email and to email them and arrange. Anyway, in the last few months, I have had absolutely unbelievable, remarkable success with a brand. There's so many blogger networks. I don't mean to pitch another blogger network, but there's a blogger network called Top Bloggers at topbloggers.com, and you post the offer, and in the same day I post it, I get like roughly 100 or so bloggers applying to work on my campaign, and they all write, I don't know how they curated this network, but they all write like really genuine crafted messages like, I actually like Blue Apron and I've used it before and I would love to write a blog post, and their rates are actually far lower than I think it would be if you were to outreach to them, because I think on the back end they have some sort of system to smart match the campaigns with the bloggers that are the most authentic, and it's hard to scale. Like, you can't get thousands of posts out. It's hard to even get dozens of posts out, but if you're looking to get a few posts out that are really authentic, I've had amazing success with Top Bloggers, like next day turnaround on posts, and they're really good quality. So that's my blogger network of choice.
What kind of cost is associated with that?
Sometimes free. I actually got one yesterday with the bloggers. I posted a campaign and they were going to give, I guess it's not free, but they were giving a free product out. And like 4 or 5 of the bloggers said, we'll write a review of it just for the free product. Usually on the order of hundreds of dollars a post though. Whereas when you outreach to them, you know, maybe you might get hundreds of dollars, but you're probably more like, you know, high hundreds of dollars, low thousands of dollars. And so I've just had really good success with it, but I think it's brand new too, so I don't know how well it's going to scale. I don't know if it's going to stay this way, but topbloggers.com, I've had really good success with it. So I actually reached out to the founder to try to work more closely with him because I think it's just two people doing it right now, and I want to like help them grow because their model's working really well. Oh yeah, the bloggers have to connect their Google Analytics. So you actually on Top Bloggers, you see their Google Analytics and you can sort by time on site, bounce rate, average page views per post, even past conversions. And so I've never seen, there's like 1 trillion blogger networks. There's like there must be at least hundreds of them out there. And this is the first one I've seen where you can see the Google Analytics ahead of time. The bloggers opt into you. They all write something really custom. It's not just like a list, and the rates are reasonable. Like I don't think they've raised funding. I think it's 2 people. I reached out to the founder. I'm trying to like work with them. I think they got it right, and so that's what I recommend using if you're trying to do authentic. But it's really, really hard to scale. Like I cannot get dozens of posts out yet.
Yeah,
Get me in on that deal when you talk.
Yeah.
That's really cool, right? Because Google Analytics provides real information. I think that's one of the challenges when you're working with blogs is if you get a media kit that says here's how many visitors we got, it could be true, could not be true, could be coming from different sources. So to actually tie into Google Analytics is really powerful, I think.
Yeah, no, hopefully they can maintain the quality, because the problem with the bigger networks, like I've used Tap Influence and some others, and they have good interfaces, you know, a lot of robust stuff in them, but the quality ends up tanking.
Does anyone know anything like that for Instagram or Pinterest? Is there anybody that uses something like that for blogs, but that works well on social networks?
Top Blogger supports the other networks.
Tiny Sponsor, I think I've heard of you. And that's on what platform?
Tiny Sponsor it is. Tinysponsor.com. Is it? And is there any cost to, what's the pricing model? That's really low compared to the market rate, by the way, which is like 50%. So that's good.
And you're launched right now? Oh, private beta, okay. So you don't know yet what it's going to look like as far as what networks people will start migrating to on their Instagram, okay. So I'm looking. Cool.
How do you find an authentic fit for an influencer to my brand, right? And even the example of Top Blogger, right, where Google Analytics, so transparency that goes from what's actually happening with this influencer, and is that a fit for a brand? Where do you think we're heading in terms of authenticity? Like, do you think there's more tools to find that, or do you think something different?
It's really interesting to see the evolution of influencer marketing, because when we first started doing it, there was no technique to it, and I'd say the biggest difference.
When did you start?
Like a year.
Yeah, 2014 or 2013, and from that point to now, it's like everybody wants to be an influencer in some shape, way, or form. Everybody wants to talk about their own brand, and it's sort of oversaturated things a little bit. And I do feel like there are going to be more tools and easier tools to find the value proposition, because the conversation that we're having right now is like, what's the value in this? And then on the other side of that, should I be posting? How many times should I be posting? What should I be posting about? That conversation is happening more and more and more. And the more brands we talk to, the more they're asking questions of like, what are we going to get from this definitively if we give you guys X amount of dollars, period. So that question needs to be answered. Influencers are also kind of, because there's so many of them out there, they're not as educated about how all of this works as well. So what we find is that there's a lot of influencers that are like, we use this, we use that, we use this, and there's no consistency. And there's no consistency in price ask. So for example, I may talk to a model and she has 50,000 followers and she may charge us $1,000 for an Instagram post. And then I talk to another model who has 40,000 followers but much more engagement, and she charges us $200. well, we're obviously going to go with the person that charges us the least amount of money. And we see that a lot. So there's always a price discrepancy too. Like people always ask us that. So that's going to have to be, there's going to be something that happens where there is going to be like a set rate. There's obviously a lot of agencies that keep popping up that say that like, you talk to us and then we'll set you up with this influencer and that influencer. And there's going to be more of that because it's an easy market to like stumble into. But yeah, it really does seem like the return on the investment is like the big thing that we're really going to need to start answering.
I mean, Maker is a collection of influencers, so in many ways, you guys can set prices across many influencers. Yeah. How do you think about that?
Traditional business was setting prices and very fixed. That's not the business I sold to them, though. We're all free agents essentially. We didn't have contracts with people, so price was what the market could bear in that situation. But the evolution is very real. It used to be price per follower. Then it turned into price for engagement. And now we see price for audience. So we're not even in the business of just picking an influencers and engaged. It has to be, their audience has to reach what the brand's trying to reach. They're reporting that back up. It's like, they go and do something with a big model who has millions of Indonesian followers and they're trying to reach the makeup brand here in the US, it's gonna do them nothing. So the evolution of our business is the side that we do, Instafluence inside of Maker, is gone from just give me followers, give me engagement. Now you got to give me followers, engagement, audience understanding, and affinity. So affinity is defined as does this person even like this company that they're working for? Huge problems we've had in the marketplace where we had a big one with Sprint where we paid people to join Sprint and the next day they go back to Verizon and after the campaign. How authentic is that? How long is that going to last?
I think a huge mistake, to be honest, like a lot of brands are doing, is that they confuse the following with the money. And like this is something like, oh, because she has so many followers, we should pay this, or no, we're not gonna pay her because she has little amount of followers. And I think like this is something like, it's also too like we all need like to see, because every person has a different price and depending on what is the target of your market, right? Like,
yep.
Is what you
yeah, absolutely. So I don't believe in Maker's business model for the future. I think it's going to go towards, they're going to help more Disney content, big people. The market now is micro influencers that have high engagement, but as the other session I was asking questions is, it's very hard to engage lots of little influencers at the same time unless he's got his stuff working. I'm an influencer. How so? Let me tell you my story. I bought a DJI drone. You guys seen those little phantoms that fly around? Mm-hmm. I posted it online and 20 people bought because of what I did. I know that because they told me. I actually went flying with them. That was a net, that just my 460 Facebook followers created $20,000 of sales for DJI. It's pretty good for would I have shown up on any of these influencer software tools? No. I'm a micro influencer. I drove a lot of sales. It's going to be finding that type of that person, and could DJI have found me and worked with me and helped me bring in 40 sales? They would have. I crashed mine, and so I had no more content going out. So they could actually send me a new one if they knew who I was for $100 or for $1,000 cost, and I would probably go sell another $20,000 of Phantom drones. That's the future, in my opinion, of influencer marketing, and it's everybody. You are all influencers.
I agree with you 100%. I think that human interaction is really important for brands to realize also. If you have an event where you have influencers sitting around a table talking, and you're connecting with them, they're going to connect with you. They're going to connect with your brand. And so the people that you're targeting to that have 1 million followers that are going to take that post down, you never connected with them, so why would they connect with you? You know, like think about that way. What do you want to put out there? What do you want to get back? What do you see, you know? So if you want to get that authentic connection with somebody, you need to connect with humans, You know what I mean? That's still a thing. And Bill, humans are great, you know, you talk to them, they talk back. But you still need to do that. You know, I think that that's really important for people. I know in we're really heavy into fashion and beauty, and I know we talk about our rates, and, you know, at the end of the day, for us in fashion, somebody with less following but is getting press in Elle magazine and in Style and all these things, that at the end of the day is going to bring more to that brand that you're working with than somebody with 1 million followers that's just, you know, obviously all influencers are their own creative agency, because we're hiring photographers, we're hiring makeup artists and everything like that to help us, to work with us. And but in the same sense, it's like we interact with companies, and I interact with companies that I like to work with. And even if it's a brand that's off-brand for me, and the brand's really nice, and I just feel the connection, I'll work with them. But I have to feel it, you know. And the people aren't feeling things anymore. They're dollars, you know, like all this. Obviously, we all like to make money. I mean, that's why we're here. But there's also a sense of art. There's also a sense of the reason why I do these things is like, I love the way clothes fit on people. I love the story behind the designers. I go to Fashion Week, I see all of this happening, you know. There's those things that really excite me, and they still excite me. And so yeah, I would, for us, real connections still have some value, and moving forward, if you can have those brunches and you get those influencers and you talk to them, you'll be able to hear them talk to each other, and you can you know, kind of devise your plan.
How do you make your business a long-term thing? And not just because of the fashion of the trend or because of your beauty or your youth, but like how you become a fashion icon, like how are we gonna monetize our business, and like how are we gonna create out of ourselves how we have before and how we will be doing it as a brand and like in a long-term path.
So imagine you have some unique perspective. You talked earlier about bringing a small, I think Spanish brand to the US market, but how has, from your perspective as an influencer, how has this changed for you, right? 4 years ago, 5 years ago, might have been CJ was the only one who was ahead of the market reaching out to you. Now you're getting a ton of outreach, but how has it evolved for you?
Well, America created the marketing, so for us Spanish people or even in Europe is really a really new thing. So like for them, like to even give you free stuff and like to even pay for you to wear it is something crazy. Like people in Spain, for example, they don't even go online shopping. They just go to the high street as they always have, their parents, grandparents, and so like America's like one step ahead of like how is it happening like in Europe or even in Asia, for example. This is another market I'm starting to touch now a lot, and like start to teach the brands like how is it done and like how we work, and like make them grow and like make them be on the level of like now society when in terms like of this social business, right? You know, like you just try and go and like, I go to a lot of stores and brands and like contact my friends that are designers and like help them like reach their other friends that are designers as well, whatsoever, and like help them grow the business and like teach them and like talk on my social media openly about like how I work, by press, giving also interviews, you know, it always helps.
Also another thing that I find valuable is if a brand gives me creative control of what the campaign is. I'm never gonna hold a product. I feel like that's awkward. When I see that in my feed, I'm like, you obviously got paid for that. It's, you know, it doesn't make me want to buy the product, but if I'm seeing, I tie into a lifestyle, you know, coming from a creative type of mindset. If somebody's having the most fun that they could potentially have, I want that. I want to be in there. I want to be with those people, you know, or else I'll have FOMO if I'm not. So, yeah, if a brand's having a great time or whatever it is, I'm gonna want to be a part of it. So that's kind of like how I feel from an influencer and products and all that stuff. If you have a lifestyle behind the brand, like the brand has a life, you know? Like I know that if I follow Rosa, she's gonna be traveling and that's a dope life. So, and my Instagram is fun too. So if a brand has that, then I'm like, I want to be with that brand. you know? So yeah, I'm not gonna take posts off that are fun and that I've created, but there's Instagram people or influencers that will, because they're just, they don't have a backbone and they're just taking the money, you know? So you have to, that's what I said with meeting people in person, you can read people. When you interact with them, you can find fake people.
You asked Tanya to hold it up.
You gotta figure out what your goal is. You know, what's your goal?
Like, for example, if you're working with petroleum, like,
Sell
you
the
can...
product. So that's it, sell the product, that's it.
Yeah.
If you, okay, so you have obviously an unsexy brand, which is fine, right? But so you give this brand a lifestyle, you find out, like, okay, so what do you have, LED lights, right? Okay, music industry, okay, Martin Garrix. You know, you think about those lines of party, fun, that's how you get your lifestyle, you know what I mean? You don't think about SDG&E, that's not chic right there. That's like money, yes, but that's not gonna bring you your core audience that you want. You wanna have core audience. Like, the core audience is gonna give your brand a lifestyle and it's gonna be a great, fun thing. And then after the fact, you're gonna make your money anyways with your SDG&Es and your whatevers.
Tip is, don't get too corporate, you know, try to have fun, like, by enjoying and like by creating content, and like let also like the advice of the influencers, you know, like to see like how do you can co-brand, like, you know, and create something cool and like get the opinion of others. And like if you have oil business or whatever, get like a cool car, like kids next to, I don't know, you know,
road
like
trips.
Road trips.
Make a viral
if you have the
video.
budget, you know, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got the budget for trips.
It's really interesting because everybody's. I just want to tack on to that real quick. I think like what he did is like actually like the future of like where it's going. Like that's what I was sort of touching on with like brand ambassadors, is that like somebody that really cares about your product and they're like going out of their way to make a video or a photo. And I know that's really difficult to find that person because it's such a brand new thing. Like we've been talking a lot about bloggers and celebrities and micro influencers, and I think we all understand what that looks like. But that regular average Joe or Jane that's going to use your product and make a video of it, and that video goes viral, like Chewbacca Mom. That's what you're really looking for, because you do know that translates to sales, and you see the virality aspect of it. Or you look at like a brand. I'd say there's two brand, like Wendy's is kicking ass on Twitter because they're being snarky about things, and they're being very authentic in their voice. To go along a little bit with what they were saying, Daniel Wellington is a really great example on Instagram if you want to see what that looks like to put that product out there. And that's people using their products that like it.
Daniel Wellington actually is the first brand in the world that started from the very beginning and has done more than 100,000 collaborations. The latest collaboration that they did over the Christmas campaign was included with the Kardashians and the Kylie Jenner and Kendall Jenner, where they got like over $300,000 over one post.
Well, I think anything, you know, obviously you have a very unique market. You know, because people that are watching you and that's an awesome market. You do things with confidence. If you go out there and you do that with confidence, people will tie into you. They're like, this chick is amazing. She's doing this, she's doing that. Yeah, she's wearing amazing outfits. They're not going to judge you. If you're going to judge yourself, you're the only person that's going to hold yourself back from being where you want to be. You know, make your goals, work backwards and figure out what exactly you want. Have a steadfast, you know, idea of what your brand is, because you know where your passion is. Where your heart is where people are going to, you know, you're going to generate people's feelings and everything from that.
Back to research. You have to research for your market.
I have one thing to add on really tricky influencer campaigns. This is the tools section. I think they're giving us the signal. Keyhole.co is a hashtag tracker. You can put in a hashtag. Perhaps there's, I don't know, a Save Syria hashtag or something like that. And you can put in the hashtag in Keyhole, and it will show you which are the biggest influencers that are talking about that hashtag, and then you just go reach out to them. And then you find influencers that have already became brand advocates for this particular topic, or perhaps, if it's a new topic you're trying to raise awareness around, find a similar topic, and then you could see who's already talking about similar things as opposed to trying to fit a square peg into a round hole.
Just search hashtag tracking, I think, but I think
Hash Tracker is another one.
There's another one. Yeah, there's a handful. Nuvi's a really big one, but there's a handful of them. That's a really good idea.
Yeah, that's really, because as brands look to who to collaborate with, if an influencer's already talked about their products or their brand, that's one of the ways that they'll know that they'd be a good fit. That's a really, really good kind of tie-in.
Can I just say, from Disney perspective, we don't get, that's usually, by the time it gets to an influencer, there's not a lot of ways to break the rules. So there are brands that will understand creative control. We're doing something with Subaru right now, and we thought we had creative control, but when legal and everything went down, it became no creative control, and it's not the influencer's fault that none of their ideas or anything works. It's a lot of legal there. If other brands are very open, they understand that they're gonna get more shares, actual additional. We do stuff where we pay to go send them to Star Wars premiere or something. We only pay them for one thing. They end up sharing, we don't ask a lot. They end up doing 5, 6, 7 other posts, Snapchat stories, Instagram stories, put it all over. The more open you are, the better. So that's for brands, but by the time it hits the influencer, it's over. It really doesn't, you cannot change. They've got, brands and agencies have a pretty fixed thing that they have to do, and negotiating a little bit can help, but not a lot. It's just, there's legal departments behind this that don't really bend a lot. So just, you either got to accept it or not accept it at the time it comes to you. I don't know if that.
So here's my biggest B2B tactic. Ridiculously hard to find B2B influencers. Like, good luck finding somebody that, well, inform me. How do you find the B2B influencers then?
You have to actually know the industry. You have to find the influencers.
All right, so you have to know the industry. That turns out to be ridiculously hard, to know a niche industry. So, I mean, if you, go ahead.
If you're going to do marketing for the industry, you know the industry first. You do your research first.
Okay.
Are you asking if there's a tool, though, or what are you asking?
I want to get insights from you, because I know what I do.
Well, it sounds like you don't want insights from me. I'm saying it's ridiculously hard, and I'm about to tell you how to do it, and then you, okay, so.
Who's got that Friday feeling up in here?
Break it up.
So, turns out the other B2B companies they probably know the industry, and they probably have found the thought leaders in the industry. And so if you go to Google and you do sponsored by blank in quotes, and it's a competitive company, you'll find all the influencers that they've already sponsored, and they've already done the work finding them for you.
So I think we had one more question back here, and then we'll end on that.
I was going to add to that.
What is the future, guys? Like, I hear a lot of talk about Instagram. What is the next big social platform to hit? Or if it's already existing, then what is it going to be? And what is that going to look like, 5 to 10 years from now?
For influencers, it's your blog, because you're a creator, so if I know for me, I have so much fun with my blog, I love it. I feel like if you're an influencer, you want to have a blog that's aesthetically pleasing, and you want to have it be something, so in case Instagram's no more, you still have this blog, and you make your mark in the industry, so people know who you are anyways, and they're going to come to you because they know what they're going to get. So making your brand authentic and recognizable, it's again just branding yourself.
Collect emails, phone numbers, and make a website, because algorithms won't change that you own that. And if you're an influencer, I would start figuring out how to make money elsewhere so that you have a long-term play. So create a product, invest in companies, do something with your money, don't go spend it all. That's, there's too many Macaulay Culkins out there on the Instagram, YouTube space right now that are all screwed. The Viners that had a hard time transitioning, don't just blow all your money on the nicest place in LA, go invest it, go make a product, but make sure you own your audience. The only way you can own your audience, Instagram owns, right now you guys are owned by Instagram, you work for them. I'm sorry, but that's the truth. At the end of the day, the algorithm could change tomorrow, and it would be like Facebook did a few years ago, and you have nothing. So
We're
you have
bloggers,
to start.
though. We have blogs, so we.
That's what I'm saying. Sorry. Yes, you have the blog. Yeah, right. So you did the blog. So you have emails, phone numbers, blogs. You can always work with those. And so the future, we don't know, but a way to hedge for the future would be to create an off-platform audience that is not owned by changing algorithms or Instagram, Facebook, or all that.
So back to the future, we have own your blog, right? Kind of own your own piece. I never would have thought what's the future? We're going to go back to telephone numbers and blogs. But 30 seconds for the other folks on the panel. What do you think the future looks like?
The future is going to be definitely as well online vlogs with V. There's more and more people joining nowadays YouTube channels. You can make money out of YouTube, out of your views that you can get, and like if you own the name and like you create like an engagement with your audience, this is how you're gonna grow. And like in your social platform and your vlog, you can still, such as for example, I would like to point the fact that Chiara Ferragni, the first blogger, most well recognized, some of you may know her, she has created, besides her vlog, telling her stories, but also an online store where she has Chiara Ferragni collection, where she's actually selling the products and having clients to design exclusive products for her own business, and like how she's monetizing and creating her own.
I think YouTube and Facebook are here to stay. I think when you look at the social media market, like everybody always kind of looks to see what Facebook is doing, and now they own Instagram, and a technology that's going to, I think, play a much larger role in things is obviously augmented reality. So you need to pay attention to really whatever Facebook is doing. Because them and YouTube, like, because videos are like she said, like videos are such a huge deal. So if you have your own website and you have like full control of that, you have control of your brand.
I think it's going to look like a lot more things like magic links. I think there's going to be a lot less of the traditional sponsored posts that we see, right? The holding up a product is going away, much in favor of more integrated endorsements. We see Amazon rolling out things kind of similar to what you do. And so I definitely see a future where it's far more integrated, far more native, far more natural, ongoing endorsements, whether it's micro-influencers like him, or solutions like magic links, or Amazon's affiliate style system, much more integrated, less of a blatant sponsored post.
The biggest thing you can do is Facebook Lives. If you have a brand, put somebody behind the brand, do Facebook Lives. That's the first thing that pops in everyone's Instagram stories or whatever. It's up there first. Insta Lives, and the Facebook Lives. So if you want to get a lot of views and get a lot of traffic back to your site or whatever, do the Facebook Lives. Talk for 10 minutes about whatever, your brand, your whatever, just talk, and it'll be the first thing everyone sees.
I didn't put my name up there. Just connect me on ScottPaul2 on LinkedIn. Message me right now, ask me what I think the future will be, and I'll send you some stuff.
Oh, where?
So,
okay.
Yeah, so ScottPaul2 on LinkedIn.
And put it up there too for everyone.
Yeah, just message me.
Slide into those
I can't do anything public. Just message me though. I'll tell you the future.
Okay. So thanks everyone. Thank our panelists, and you can meet with them afterwards as well.